so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Of course, a month ago it was raining a little, so I'm glad we pushed off and waited a month. I think that was a smart move. So thank you all for making time out of your busy schedules to be here. Appreciate it. It's nothing else. It's always great to meet some other like-minded entrepreneurs that I can learn from. Tonight, it's real simple, and I want to keep it real simple. Obviously, real informal with such a small group, which is great. I'm going to show a montage first of top-rated sellers. And each of them, there's 5 of them, was tasked with just sharing one tip on what they would encourage other sellers to consider, kind of learn from their hard-earned experience. So I'll go ahead and show a couple videos. That's why I say sit back, enjoy it yourself. And then after the video, we're going to have Trisha from Fiverr get up, say a few words, and then we'll move to question and answer time. Okay? So I'll begin first with the video.
Tampa at 6:30 p.m. But what no one expected was for people to get in line now for this unprecedented event so soon. Ali has spoken to some of the guests in line. So let's go now to Ali with more on this story.
She said, after speaking with many of these guests, here's what they are saying. I can't wait to be part of this community and get to know fellow Fiverr people. I need to find some sellers for my business to help me grow. I'm a seller, and I'm looking to network with other sellers. That said, I did talk with some of these people who were here for more fun reasons, like I can't wait for the brewery tour, or I heard the food was catered by master chefs. Let's eat. And of course, I'm here for beer.
Look it up at Voice Over Peak Fiverr. We look forward to having you be part of the rest of the story.
Hello and welcome to Fiverr Community event in Tampa. My name is Serge from Later Videos. We've been working with Fiverr since 2012, so we want to share one basic but very crucial tip as to how to sell your services on Fiverr. Feeling great? Keep your prices ridiculously low. This is something that you have to do from the beginning just to generate enough demand for your services and motivation for people to buy and at least to try it out. If you do this good enough and if you provide a quality service as well as product that you actually sell, over time what we will get is a really good build up portfolio that will be able to show what you do and what you offer such price, as well as a big and strong client base that is ready to pay you more than what you're asking them to pay. So over time you will be able to increase your price and reach the margins that you're actually aiming for. This is something that helps us, and we hope that it's going to help you as well. So we wish you good luck with all your sellings and all your new beginnings.
Hi everybody, my name is Tim, and I thought I'd share a bit about setting and managing buyer expectations. Now obviously, we all want that coveted 100% approval rate. To do that, we need a great product, and we need to be able to effectively communicate the value of our offering. And to me, this starts with applying some gig discipline. We need to know what our gig provides, what it doesn't, who most benefits, and perhaps who's not a good fit for it. Now Now, we can always deviate from this gig norm, and having a validation can help us communicate the value proposition much more precisely. One of the problems that we're going to have is communicating the value and the scope of the services that we provide in only 1,200 characters and a 60-second video. So, to the best of your ability, demonstrate the value and the promise of your gig. Show your dedication and your enthusiasm. Talk about who will benefit most from your gig. Let them know what you need from them, and then provide some details to what's covered and what's not. Now, once you have a buyer that places an order, consider continuing to manage expectations. Now, remember that many of these buyers believe that they've already given you their money, and they can get a little jittery if you don't acknowledge their order. So, if possible, create one of those canned text messages that you can use as a response to each order. Consider something like, "Thanks so much for your work. I thought I'd take this opportunity to cover some expectations regarding delivery and the scope of services provided. Please expect delivery before the Fiverr clock expires for this order. Should you not hear from me, expect a timely delivery." And then from there, you can answer a few of the more predictable questions they might have based on your experience with the gig. Now, when they rate you, expect high points for communication. And finally, there's another way that expectations are set, and we do not think about it, and that's through your portfolio. In fact, it's one of the most important resources for buyers to determine if your gig is right for them. And while we don't have control over what gets posted, we do have control over what doesn't get posted. So if you have a delivery that you don't believe represents your best work, consider delivering via Dropbox or another delivery system outside the buyer so that it doesn't show up in your portfolio. And that's it. Be well and have a great day.
Hi, Fiverr's Mother Stucker here. I hope you're enjoying your event. Our fellow Fiverr listener asked me to share a Fiverr tip with you, and I jumped at the chance, so here goes. Don't be afraid of limits. What I mean is define and control your gig. Cut down the word count and down on the video length. Whatever gigs you offer, limit them. Trust me, when you have a quality gig, it will still stay. Offer all the good stuff, unique stuff, the different stuff, the special stuff through Fiverr Gig Extras. What this does is allow you to earn more and spend more time on projects of those who have invested in you, therefore resulting in a better product for buyers and a better quality catalog of your work on Fiverr and an overall higher quality Fiverr experience for you. So that's it. Mother Stucker out. Have a great day. And send me a message. I'd love to work with you.
Hi, this is Andrew, also known as Live Audio on Fiverr. I've been on the platform for over 5 years providing voiceovers to clients around the world and absolutely love it. My advice today is to do something that you're passionate about. So when you create a gig on Fiverr, you want to make sure that it's something that you put a lot of passion about. Maybe some hobby or something that you're involved in, not the work that you're really into, that you really want to pursue, and that you want to do every day. If you do those things, follow those guidelines, you're going to be successful on the platform. I always tell people also that when you establish your gig,
whatever you are, maybe limitless talent of buyers who may love what you're selling and sometimes won't. We all love 5-star reviews, but occasionally you'll get a lousy review. It happens. Forgive yourself and the buyer. There'll be other opportunities. I believe you must be sensitive and uncompromisingly attempt to meet your buyer's needs. It's also incumbent on you to advise your client as to how best to achieve the ultimate result for his or her project. Try to build amicable, respectful working relationships with as many clients as you possibly can. Repeat clients will trust you way beyond the moon and entrust you with their work time and again. Bless them. Above all, enjoy your work. Every project, big or small. When you enthuse, work is never a chore. It takes you to the highest level of your craft. It's really worth remembering that when you get the art right, the commercial success will always follow.
Nice.
Those are some great guys and gals with some great advice, and certainly I've appreciated their input as they've reached out to me and I to them, trying to figure this out to improve all of our businesses. I especially want to just pause and acknowledge several guys that have an incredible task. There's Francisco, there's Felipe, and my, can I just say my favorite, my son, PJ. They each have helped me not only with my business, creative ideas, as well as they have the arduous task of making me look good on screen, okay? I just get to stand there and talk, and they do the magic. So I really appreciate them. And thank them. My lovely wife, of course, if you haven't met her, she's the beauty behind the operation. And then, of course, Fiverr. You know, to me, it's like the Wizard of Oz. We know there's a curtain there. We know we can't look behind it, but we want to. I don't care if you're a buyer or seller. We just want to understand what's going on. So tonight, we have the privilege, and it is, to have somebody from Fiverr here. So all the way up from South Florida, Trisha. So, Trisha?
So I'm not going to use the microphone, but if you can't hear me, I'm willing to grab it. So at any point I start mumbling or I'm just a little too quiet, let me know. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for bringing us all here tonight, Pete. This is awesome. I love that we have this intimate group, and it's a mix of buyers and sellers. My role at Fiverr is I'm a success manager, and I work directly with top-rated sellers and level 2 sellers on improving their business on Fiverr. So I share with them tips, much like many of these sellers shared here, and we sit down and I almost like a business coach. We come up with strategies on like how to grow their revenue and how to improve their quality, to improve their business, and to give a better experience for our buyers, of course, as well. So normally, like I would maybe get up and talk a little bit about some seller tips, but since we have, I think we almost have like a 50-50 split of buyers and sellers tonight, I would love to open this up for a Q&A session. If there's anything you've ever wanted to ask Fiverr, or wondered about how Fiverr works, or anything like that, I will do my best to answer you. I might not have, I'm not the wizard, but I know the wizard. I've met him once or twice, so maybe I can help. No, does anybody have anything?
I do.
All right, cool.
How are they getting around the fact that they are, we've had a couple, Rachel Hamlin and I have a business together, and we've had a couple of gigs where they say they're in the U.S., and it becomes painfully obvious from their written language that they are not in the U.S., and from the times everything gets delivered like at 3 in the morning, so we're pretty sure they're like in India.
Right, they're probably not awake in Fort Lauderdale at 3 in the morning.
So how do they get away with scrambling?
So how they pull that off, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know if I want to share like the methods that people get away with being sneaky like that, but there's like a bunch of various like things that you could potentially do. But we actually have a fairly large moderation team at Fiverr, where it's our trust and safety team. Some of you may or may not have heard of that, and they really do work day and night to ensure things like that. So if they find sellers, if they are perhaps misrepresenting their location, or maybe there's a user on Fiverr who might have inappropriate content or something like that, or mistreatment of one of our members, whether it's a buyer or seller, you know, we just want, obviously everybody needs to get along and be warm and professional. And they work on things like that. Of course, it's a huge marketplace. I'm sure anybody that's gone through and just scrolled through the categories, you probably see gigs and gigs and gigs until you can't book any longer, and they're still coming. So some things may fly under the radar. We do have not that anybody wants to take this step, but we do have a great customer support team where you could always just be like, hey, you know, could you look into this user? I don't think that, you know, they're representing themselves correctly, and we can't tell you what we do because we do have a very strict privacy policy, but I work in the same office as our customer support team, and I can personally tell you that they absolutely will look into it and send it to our trust and safety. But yes, it is true, that does happen anywhere on the internet. People love to find a way to misrepresent themselves, but you'll find that also some of those sellers are not necessarily, they're not like you're not gonna find people that are like super sellers and top rated sellers that are making great businesses on Fiverr by offering, you know, not having that sort of transparency. So, I guess I didn't answer your question as to how.
That's okay.
But I don't want to give anybody that's watching or anybody here any ideas of how to be sneaky. But that was a really good question.
That happens to me all the time.
Yeah, us too. Everybody's like continual. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it is a worldwide marketplace. I would really honestly recommend, like, if you see it and you're not getting the type of service that you expect, so, like, you should definitely contact us about it. We're not going to ask you to do like a long detailed report. You could actually write support or email support@fiverr.com, so it's super easy to remember. You could just shoot an email and say, hey, I'm not so sure about this person. You may want to check it out. And we will. And it's something we do is when we work with sellers, we encourage them to be transparent about
I
their
know, but we don't
identities.
want to shut down some poor guy.
No, you know, we're not going to shut anybody down, but we're honestly going to work with them on, you know, we're not going to just say, oh, you misrepresented your country, you're off Fiverr, like not in any case, but, you know, we want to do the right thing, I think.
I just want to put a plug in for them because I've used them for a lot of illustrations for my books, and many of them have been overseas, most of them have been overseas, and they have been fantastic. They've given me all the great drawings that I wanted in a timely manner and for great prices that I could never have used anyone that was charging too much to get all these done, and I was thrilled with this work. So I want to thank you.
Yeah, no, and thank you actually for coming on Fiverr and getting that done. I love that we have this huge diverse marketplace where we have buyers and sellers all over the world coming together to do creative projects, business projects. I think it's beautiful. It's nice to know where somebody's really from for sure, but like, I mean, I've been so lucky to meet people from countries that I never thought like I would ever talk to someone from, and now friends might be a strong word, but I consider them friends, like that I work with directly, and there's a lot of amazing talent all around the world, and thank you, Mary.
As it relates to exposure and ranking, you know, which is what you're trying to shoot for, if you have multiple gigs that are unrelated or maybe semi-related, to give you an example, I just really started hitting the ground in August 1st, doing voiceover.
Nice, welcome.
And I see impressions going up and clicks going up, and you know, I'm doing everything I need to do with the buyer requests and joint ventures, but no sales.
Okay.
Almost 2 months into it. So I'm doing, you know, I'm getting advice, I'm tweaking my demo, but then I'm thinking, you know, I own a video business.
Okay.
Again, that's where I probably say it's semi-related. Does Fiverr, if I do too many, I mean, is there a point where they say, okay, this guy's got he's a jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
Let's not send anything to this guy, or, I mean, how do they look at multiple, because right now I only have one gig, but I've been thinking of doing as many as I can do that I have the skill for.
So,
I don't want to hurt the current ranking.
Right, no, opening an additional gig is definitely not going to hurt your current ranking, and each of your gigs, they kind of come in search in different positions and things like that. They have their own individual ranking. While I think it is an excellent idea if you are, you have a video business, so I think it's fair to say that you are also an expert in video as well as voiceovers. If you are really excellent at this skill, I think you absolutely should have a gig for it. And it makes sense if it's in similar categories, like, of course, video, music, and audio are different categories on Fiverr, but they are very closely intertwined. I don't think a buyer would go to your profile and go, that's weird, why does he have voiceover and video? I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe if you had voiceover and resume writing and psychic services, like, I would even advise you and say, hey, you can't be good at all of this. Let's get rid of the excess and focus on what you're best at. At different levels on Fiverr, as you get more orders, you'll go to level 1 seller, level 2 top rated, and at those times you have space for more gigs. So you're not leveled yet, it sounds like. So you can open another gig, absolutely. And I would recommend it. I think you mentioned earlier you have like your video is like an extra on your voiceover gig.
It's on my website as that's another service I offer.
Okay, yeah. So I think that if you do great video services, you should absolutely offer them. You will get a chance to meet different types of buyers that way. If somebody's looking for someone to do a video, they'll find you that way. And then you could also upsell your voiceover services at the same time and vice versa. Definitely not going to penalize anybody for having a wide variety of gigs, but I would really encourage any seller to kind of focus on what they're really good at. Don't just start creating things just to get the exposure, because in the end that'll work against you if you get orders on that gig and you can't deliver them correctly and then you'll have a bad rate. Like it doesn't really work out great, but it sounds like your plan, I think, is an excellent one. Yeah, of course. Any other questions? Please.
With unviews, I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I understand the endorsements, the testimonials is part of a big part of it. People pay on it, one second is, but if you recommend or you promote a product and you never tried it before, you kind of pull that from the actual or us, the real suit, it ends up being a really bad product if you're recognizable on the internet.
Right. Well, I want to understand that question a little bit better. So,
What kind of liability would we have promoting somebody that was a bad product?
like you yourself, like if you could put up a gig and it wasn't like a good product, basically. Well, your buyers would be the one that would make the statements about it. First of all, like when you create a gig, you have the ability to put up samples of your work. You can do 1 video and up to 3 images. So if you want to utilize those so your buyers can have an expectation of what you provide. Now, if the thing that you're delivering is not matching what you're advertising, that's generally going to lead to buyer disappointment. And likely a lower rating that they'll give you on an order. Orders can be rated up to 5 stars, and anything 3 or above is technically considered positive. But I think Pete will tell you that he probably doesn't accept anything less than 5.
Well, those refer to like the general public say using on the website or ad that they do.
Right.
Also, the general public providers, they see you, they recognize who you are.
Right.
And also, they get a part of the
Oh, okay, so I understand that. I think then as a seller, you should, it's always important to be conscious of the type of work that someone's asking you for. Of course, we don't allow anything any sort of legal content or things like that. But if somebody asks you to do a video and maybe they're just like, hey, I want you to insult this person for 60 seconds. I think that's where, as a business person, you have to think about, is this something that I want to do? This is my face. Do I want to be associated with this?
ordered that.
And I don't think a lot of that even really comes through, but I suppose it's certainly a possibility, and I think it's important to just be smart because as a freelancer, you're also your own brand. And but I work with a lot of sellers, and I don't hear much hey, somebody's asking me to do this thing, and I'm not okay with it. So I don't think it's a big risk, but it's an important question, and an important thing to think about. Absolutely, whether it's on Fiverr or anywhere in business. And,
Once they get it, it's their learning.
right. So you'll want to do quality work, and you'll get an idea. If you're doing a video, they'll send you a script, just before they start the order, you can set certain things like that up, so you can review the script, make sure it works and everything.
I'll share this too. I just got really, I'm I'm okay with doing it, but I don't want it seen as part of my work portfolio under my gig. How do I turn that off? So you can turn off your live portfolio, which is where you show your work. You go ahead and deliver it. First you turn it off, deliver it. It's delivered, it's accepted, everything's good, customer's happy, fine. Then on the next production, as you're about to deliver, you turn back on live portfolio, and you're fine, you move forward. So no other buyer will know or think, yeah, that was a little question.
That's not something I usually recommend, but that is a good seller to sell it.
Some you didn't want your, but you still want to work, and you did two or three.
You just turn off live portfolio.
You have two profiles?
No, you can only have one profile.
I'm just curious as a seller, approximately how many gigs are going on in Fiverr daily, and how many sellers do you have, active sellers?
So, those numbers are, I know those are huge, huge numbers, and I actually don't even know what the exact numbers are. Goodness, I wish I could even estimate it for you, but I don't know, and I think it might be something I'm not privy to, because otherwise it probably would have come past my desk at some time. But it is definitely a huge, huge community. I mean, we have something like 100 categories, so if you can imagine each one of those categories is full of talent there. So are you? I'm sorry. You are a seller. For some reason,
I don't know what I am. I buy services. I'm a buyer.
Oh, okay.
No,
So,
yeah.
No,
I just love
that's
Fiverr.
okay. I'm glad you love Fiverr. No, so there
Get
are.
her a beer.
Yeah.
I've had mine too.
Yeah, there are a ton of sellers. That is a very big number, and I apologize,
No, I'm
but
just curious.
it's really interesting, and you can really like when you're buying on Fiverr, you can kind of like if you say you go to a category or looking for a specific service, you can narrow down the search and say I just want to see top-rated sellers that offer this, or I just want to see new sellers that offer this, because I want to work with somebody who's new on the platform and give them an opportunity. Of course, or same thing with level 1 or level 2, and you can probably do some little like math and get an idea like of how many people offer a particular service. It'd be probably a crazy project to do that across the whole marketplace, and it's always changing, so not reliable either. So. Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You got like an hour.
Oh yeah, well, I can talk all night.
Honestly, if everybody will permit me, I have 2 tips for sellers. I have a suggestion for Fiverr and a question.
Okay, go. Floor is yours.
I've been selling on Fiverr now for just short of 2 years. Very proud of my 5.0 rating across all my gigs. And one of the easiest ways for sellers to make additional revenue is actually through information products. And I'll give you an example. My main gig is I help small and medium-sized businesses up to large businesses solve problems that they're facing, solve challenges. They send me the challenge as long as it's not legal related, and give them my feedback on the situation. But on that particular gig, I have 2 extras. One, I wrote a quick, short ebook on the 10 traits of a successful entrepreneur. Took me about 2.5 days to put that together. And I travel for business a lot. So I have another one that's 7 tips for business travelers. Stuck them on there as gig extras. They're PDFs. Took me 1 time creating them. I've sold dozens of them. It's easy, high, fast profit turn after you've done it the first time, because you don't have to create it again. You simply attach it to your gig and life goes on. And it surprises me that more sellers don't do that. Just create an information product, in your case, 10 ways to be more successful with your product, with your voiceover, whatever the case is. And just have it out there. It's an easy $5, a lot more often than you think it is. Does anyone here use IFTTT?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you use it to post your positive reviews on Facebook?
Yes.
That's a wonderful
Fiverr, Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
You gotta explain what it is.
IFTT stands for if this then that. It's an app. You can go on the website and they have recipes. And one of the recipes that's available is automatically post it to whichever of your social media accounts you want to. Fantastic tool for getting the word out in your own group about how you're doing on Fiverr and actually generating more orders. You'd be absolutely surprised at how well that works.
That's another awesome
And that
tip.
was IFTT?
IFTTT.
If this, then that.
Yeah, if this,
Oh.
then that.
Thank you.
Question. Has Fiverr ever considered having a gig extra that is a repetitive, reoccurring subscription? The example is I do business coaching. It's a
So
monthly
you want somebody on a
type
retainer?
deal. Truth be told, honestly, I can't do it through Fiverr right now. I respect the process, I respect the system, but there's no mechanism.
Yeah.
Have they ever considered it?
So what I can say is that I know that it has been considered, and it's something that, although I am not anywhere near a decision maker on this, but it's something that I do believe it has a very strong likelihood of coming to Fiverr. I think that it's a service that would be great for a lot of our sellers and for a lot of our buyers too, because I'm sure you may have clients that just come to you every month and do the transaction again each month, and that would, it would save everybody time, absolutely.
Well, and it makes it difficult, because you do have to go through that process again, you have to hope that the market is what is accepted.
Right.
Because you're not actually going looking for a piece of work, it's just a transaction.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it becomes a little more challenging in that regard.
Definitely, but that is something I have heard, I've heard a lot of sellers and buyers request, and I've heard it talked about around the halls, if I could say. So, and it's something that I believe is fairly likely, but I won't tell.
Alright, last one,
Okay,
and I know this is contentious.
okay, I'm ready.
Is Fiverr ever going to seriously consider a tiered fee system for high dollar transactions? I'm a grant writer among all of these. If I'm writing a federal grant application, we're talking $6,000.
Right,
Losing 20% of that is
it's a huge chunk, yeah.
that's a real problem. I mean, again, I respect the system, I respect how the client came to me, but $1,200 on a $6,000 fee is problematic.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
So, have they ever given contemplation, or are they ever going to consider some type of tiered fee structure that aligns with the value of what is provided?
Right, so that I know less about than I do the previous thing, to be totally honest with you. I have heard it suggested before, for sure, and I think that when you come across things like that, like, it's really great to communicate that with Fiverr. Like, we have this great, it may not necessarily seem like on the outside, but it's a great program internally, basically, where we're always collecting feedback from sellers, and like, I'm pretty involved in that process sometimes, and we try to like put together and tell stories, and like, that is a story that I would tell. I would say, Kevin is a grant writer. This grant is $6,000, and taking a $1,200 hit on it may interfere with,
And
so,
cause
you know,
undesirable.
so will that change or not? Like, I definitely don't know, but I think it's really important, like, we care so much. It's one of the things I love about Fiverr, is we really do care so much about, like, the experience that buyers and sellers share with us, and I'll take it from here, and it'll already be something that's a takeaway of mine, but I would always encourage to reach out to support, because they actually, this things do get documented, and they do, like, go down the appropriate, like, to the appropriate department, so, but that's awesome, and I would love to see you writing some big grants on Fiverr. It makes me happy.
My wife is really, has been buying on Fiverr. Excuse my voice, it's kind of.
Oh, you're fine.
I want to ask, brought this to my attention, maybe there's hope for me. I have a shop on Etsy. It was did very well in the first year. But lately, it's been thousands of hits, no buys.
Okay.
Terrible. Anyway, this is somewhere on Etsy that I can go and say to somebody, maybe this would be legal, I don't know, that I have a shop, would you look at it, could you give me advice on how to do this better? I mean, is that something that?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely something. Yeah, Kevin's like, he's like, I'm in, I'm not here. I think, and perhaps you guys should network before you leave tonight. you might want to look at, and whether it's like updating like your written content or your pictures, or maybe some creative ways to market that Etsy shop. And I think that, you know, sellers like Kevin would be a perfect asset for you. You guys must network. It is destined.
I have another suggestion. I don't know if it's just me. That whole ranking thing continues. I always have to stop and think, now, okay, because in my mind, if it's a level 2 seller, for some reason I get that confused and think they're in second place.
Oh,
and
right.
a level 1 seller would be higher.
Right.
When it's actually reversed.
Yeah.
And then top rated, that kind of makes sense, but for my key brain, it would be so much easier if it was just like silver, gold, and platinum or something.
Right, something a little more simpler to understand. Yeah. No, I think that is an awesome suggestion, and one that I don't hear a lot, because I always talk to sellers and they're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
But that's great, because myself, or I'm sure anybody at Fiverr, we don't want you to be confused about.
I've had more people ask me that, so it's like,
yeah,
I'm not the Lone Ranger on that.
No, I don't think you are the Lone Ranger. I say I only hear it because
I'm a Poncho kind of girl.
Yeah, nice. But no, I think that's excellent, and I think that that sounds like something that would absolutely improve your experience as a buyer. So I can take that away with me.
The challenge with that though is, as a level 2, gold, silver, bronze has a different set of connotations associated with it.
Yeah.
And being a top-rated seller is a very, I've yet to crack the code. Perfect feedback. I get feedback on 76% of my orders, which I know is
That's excellent.
way above the average.
I don't know the average, but that's excellent.
And I can't crack the code on it. So the perception of silver has almost a second tier perception to it.
So isn't that like what a first level seller is anyway?
But there's so few. I don't want to say it's arbitrary, because you guys have a system to apply them, but it's not, there's no metric that I can meet that says I become a top rated seller. Level 2 is the penultimate unless you're chosen by the editorial staff. So it's not, I mean, I could see like diamond, gold, silver, but gold, silver, bronze to me, that.
I didn't say bronze, I said platinum, gold, and silver.
I suspect that no matter what, like if we ever make a change, we have some really brilliant people, and they would probably come up with something that's unique to Fiverr, but something that's maybe a little bit more clear. I would say there's definitely an argument for sure.
Or even new seasons and top raters. I don't know.
Yeah, just something. And, no, absolutely.
Or bottom feeders.
Losers. Newbie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Newbie's a cute word.
I would have top of the season then.
Yeah. Rookie, yeah. I mean, we honestly, there's some brilliant folks, and I'm sure, and this might even, for all I know, might be something that's being thought about already, because I bet if I'm hearing it from you today, like you said, there are others, and you've probably heard it quite a bit. Yeah, no, and I think it's awesome, so, sure. Alright, any more curiosities, or something like that? Like I said to Kevin, I'll talk all night.
Start. How long has it been around?
We are a little over 6 years old, and we're getting a little closer to 7, I believe, and we're actually based in Tel Aviv, and we were founded in Tel Aviv, and in the U.S. we have offices in South Florida, which is where I'm from, and New York, right in Manhattan, Chicago, and San Francisco, so got like a nice spread.
I just want to react to what Kevin was saying, and I'm not sure because I can't really hear everything he's said about the recurring contracts that you might have with a person. I was doing a lot of colorizing old photos, and I found someone that did, really good, and she got the color right. Took her a couple times, but she finally got it right. So I wasn't going to try another person.
Right.
So I just said to her, can you send me a custom order? And then she would do that, and then she, they just flowed right into one another. So really, sit through everything each time.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's like a good case for like a retainer there that you could say, I'm going to give you X dollars a month and you're going to do X colorizations for me.
And I did that for, some, slideshows that I wanted her to put music to, this is a different one. And then, she had also 5 years of doing really great things, so years ago, the second one, the third one. It's just really neat to do that.
Yeah, no, see, and that's awesome, and that's what I love like about events like this, or getting around and talking to people, because it's like the same suggestion, but we have a seller perspective and a buyer perspective, and I think that creates a really good story. So thank you for sharing that again, Mary. Yes.
The company called Unity started the same thing y'all did.
Yeah.
5 years I've helped to employ new students. A lot of stuff they got there, they have a lot of experts that can do things like what you're doing here. Now, all of the law for that, other people help them. All we do is look around as far as helping each other, utilities.
Yeah.
They really good.
Yeah, I think so. And in fact, I know some sellers that like they sell things on Fiverr and they have courses on Udemy as well. And I know a seller that I worked with just recently made a course on Udemy about getting started and getting going on Fiverr. So I think you're right. There's something natural there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that goes around with the gig economy in general. Like, I love Fiverr. I buy so much on Fiverr, but I also use Uber and Airbnb. Like, I think there's a lot in Udemy as well. So the gig economy is awesome, and there's definitely some natural, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Synergy. Thank you very much, Pete.
Does Fiverr do any survey monkeys to buyers for feedback on food as well?
Yeah, I think it is likely that as a buyer, then you will get a survey at some point. It might happen like directly like on the website, or it could be emailed to you. I don't know how much that we do, but I know that it does happen. And if you ever receive it, definitely please give your feedback, or feel free, like I said to Kevin, give it unsolicited. Just contact us and be like, I've got a laundry list of 20 things I want you to think about. We like that. We do.
I've got one.
Yeah, you got one?
Probably
Nice.
not.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a natural thing.
It would be positive things, because I'll tell you one of the things I do appreciate, someone just said that I love it. There are sellers that do kind of go above and beyond and are so like trying to make you happy that you do really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And they really will.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you'll stand for them, she said, because they did all that. So
Absolutely.
it's really cool.
Yeah, I always encourage sellers to kind of think about this almost the same as if you opened up like a small brick and mortar like retail shop. Like when your customers come in, you're just a mom and pop business. You want to give your absolute best service and things like that so that you can grow. And it's the same thing when you're freelancing on Fiverr, in the real world, anywhere. Or it's not the real world, the physical world, I should say. It's all real.
One thing that we've been really trying to get done for our training company is some software that is stuck in the 90s. It has been rewritten for the 2000 to 2010 software operating systems. But we're sort of terrified to hand it over to someone that hasn't worked on it from the beginning.
Right.
So we can't afford to pay this guy any more than he's paying, but we really, our business has collapsed because we don't have this piece of software anymore.
Yeah.
What kind of, do people on Fiverr have the skills necessary to
Definitely.
bring us into
Yeah.
this, decade?
There's a category that, of course, you'll want to like kind of maybe do some searches, like keyword searches for the software that you have, or if you know like the coding language the software was built on, that can help you. Or if you just want to kind of browse around and send some inquiries to some sellers, there's a category that's called programming and tech, which you can find in like the top bar of categories. And I would recommend browsing through there, but absolutely have amazing skilled programmers, developers that offer services on Fiverr, and that sounds like it might be a good avenue for you at this point.
The other thing that we're really terrified about is someone from India or China taking it and, exploiting it to steal anything.
Right, well, I mean, I would definitely hope that that doesn't happen, especially on Fiverr. But, I would encourage you to but I always encourage people to back things up, like that are software or website related, before you start a project, because even if you're working, outside of Fiverr with a freelancer somewhere and they're perfectly reputable, but like a mistake happens, you'll wanna be able to go back. And any good developer is going to back it up first, but you may wanna do your own backup. And that is something that is a service you can get through Fiverr as well. So you could kind of go to one seller, he's the guy that's in charge of your backups, now you go to another seller, and then you start to work on changes. So I understand the fear, I think that fear is there anytime anyone hires a web developer or a software developer anywhere, but if you back it up, then you're protecting yourselves.
It's tough.
It is
You
tough.
try to find the right people, and you find third-party software programs to check it, and still, you get back. I mean, finding content writing, original content writing is very difficult.
Right.
So a lot of people will,
Yeah.
copy paste pieces of this and that, and put them through different plagiarizer tools.
Yeah.
It's
No, well, I mean, article
terrible.
spinning is something that
You
exists
gotta be cautious,
everywhere.
very cautious.
Yeah, very cautious. And if you're not sure, if you're nervous,
Well, don't be afraid.
Yeah,
You
don't
gotta
be
move forward.
yeah, don't be afraid, but be
Cautious.
forward.
You have a
lot of witnesses here. You can sue this guy.
Yeah.
We got this great program called, Copyscape.
Yeah.
So when we get content from Fiverr, we put it through it and we know if it's copy or pasted.
Right.
So,
I mean, anytime, like, before you engage somebody in a large project or something that's very near and dear to you, or even a small project, I would always say contact the seller first and ask them questions. Like, get a feel for the person that you're working with and, like, create a relationship. And
I have an affiliate program or is there anyone?
say that again?
I have an affiliate program or is there anyone?
We do have a great referral program, and there may be an affiliate program, but I'm actually would not.
If I want to sell their services, I would say.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Sure,
I
tell me.
I don't think so.
Tell me.
But I have to actually like check on that for you, to be honest. I'm gonna go with I don't think so, but I'd have to check myself, honestly. And that falls kind of a little outside of where I hang out. I'm sorry.
The program would be good, please, but $5 got a whole lot of money to split.
Right.
If I sold a service, I'll say do it for $3 inside. If I sold it once, I'm not gonna do it.
Did you know that now everywhere on Fiverr, if you have a service you want to offer, you don't have to start it at $5 any longer. Yeah. Just so to throw that out there.
It's something for $5.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, everything in the contract.
Well, if you're doing like a custom offer with somebody, I'm sure there is a limit, but it's pretty high. I don't know. Goodness, but I mean, I see orders come through for $6,000 and up. So. Right. Am I yeah. Pete's ready. Are you ready for him? Because he's ready. Yeah. Again, you've got good questions, Johnny. No, there's no such thing as too many questions. Never.
What can you share with everyone that you know is coming down the road in the next 3-6 months?
Okay. So coming down the road, well, let me start with something that actually just came about yesterday because, and I just alluded to it there, is now we have a feature called packages on gigs where you can offer, a base, middle, and high tier package with different things built into it, but previously it was only available in certain categories. So yesterday we launched it, and you can now, and we haven't even done like the big announcement about it yet. I think it was just kind of like a soft, quiet thing, as far as I'm aware. But you can now, in any category you sell it, you can start your gig at above $5 and create packages. So that.
To me, the denomination's always been frustrating. Because I came out with a gig and I just wanted to charge $1 a word.
Oh, right.
But the denomination will never go down to $1.
I don't think so, because I think we're always going to be Fiverr, so I think that might be, but I mean, I don't know. But I haven't heard much about that. But that is interesting. I like that $1 per word sort of format. It's interesting.
How do you become a seller? I've been totally ignorant, so please help.
Oh, no, you're not. That's great. So, well, first of all, create an account on Fiverr. I know that Mary has one, but you may want your own for your business. And once you create an account, actually in the top right corner, there's a little link that says Start Selling. And that's where you can go and create your service, which we call a gig. So this is a service that you offer, and perhaps like Pete offers great testimonial videos. Well, they're much more than that. Great videos. And Kevin offers business consulting services. But we have a ton of categories you can choose from, whether it's graphic and design, or music and audio, or maybe business categories. And
so what about offering training services?
Yeah.
You customize already package.
Yeah, so you can customize that, and you can start it at like $1, you know, like kind of think of, I can't really advise you exactly on how you should price something without knowing more about it, but you can go and say if you're training on, say, a certain software, and say, I will teach you how to use this software for $100, and then say, oh, it involves an X amount of hour training session. And something like that might typically be under like a business or lifestyle category, depending on what the training is. There's a lot of great resources too. Like once you start selling, you create the gig. We have the Fiverr Academy has a lot of great articles on just like tips to help get you going. Our customer support team even is wonderful. If like you write in like, hey, I just started my gig, or I'm having trouble with my gig, can you help me get this wrapped up? And they'll be there to help. And also there's a forum on Fiverr, which is what I would really encourage anybody, buyer or seller, use, because there's great exchanges between Fiverr community members, and they can help you get going, or maybe give you tips that way, or you might give your own tips and give back.
You have to get approved of your whatever you're offering.
Yeah, once you create your service, that gets approved by like our trust and safety team. It doesn't typically take very long. It should happen within like 24 hours. So and I would even say that's kind of a long estimate, but that's a fair
And how
estimate.
about setting the amounts? You talked about that. You didn't quite follow very well.
Yeah.
Setting the amounts, because ours are a little bit tight place. I mean,
Yeah, so I believe it's not can start up to $995, but I know what you can then add on to it and do custom offers with is much more. But as you're creating your gig, there's like great little tool tips that'll kind of guide you through each section and tell you what you do there. When you get to the pricing, it's pretty convenient because it's a nice drop-down box from $5 to $9.95, where you can go through and choose like, okay, I want to start this at $195, and you know. But since we have that pricing flexibility with triple packages, I would always try to think about what can you offer for a small amount to bring people into your service. Like, can it be like a pre-written thing that you can offer for $5, and then you have packages like, well, now I will sit and train with you for 2 hours, for 8 hours for this price and that price.
does our Fiverr offer any advice to people like me, the question is that to help them get started?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're welcome to talk to me, our customer support, the Fiverr forum, and the Fiverr Academy. Any of those things, there's great resources. I know that there are buyers and sellers that belong to some groups on like Facebook and things like that. That might be a little worth searching for. And we have a really awesome community. So, and we also have a great staff. So you could write customer support. But I would encourage you to sit down and try it first, because I'd also be curious about like your feedback of how easy was it for you to create the gig, and you know, we'd love to hear that too. Yeah, as a novice, and I bet Mary could kind of help you a little bit too. She's a buyer, but she's got her. She knows. It sounds like she knows her way around.
The Fiverr seller that traded me, and it's funny, I'm bringing this up because you said you can open this account, a separate account, told me that Fiverr discourages opening multiple accounts in the same household.
So
They can tell from the IP address.
that may be one way for sure, but we do discourage. But this is like a preventative measure to keep people from doing fraud or like unfairly bolstering their accounts. But it sounds like, because Mary's a buyer and her husband would be a seller, one thing is that if you are going to have like a husband and wife, like separate accounts, there are some very strict rules you need to follow, and that is never buy and sell from each other, ever. Do not sell the same types of services, because then it's obvious you have multiple accounts because you're trying to take up multiple spaces in a category, and you can't share things like your withdrawal provider and your payments and things like that. They do need to be like totally separate. So, but like a buyer account, a seller account, totally
No,
cool.
but you've already hit the nail. It would be, I don't have a second account, but
Yeah.
if I got my wife into it, it was gonna be probably in the same business, so you've already answered that.
Right, yeah, so in that case, I would encourage to open up a gig like on your account with you, because then you have a male voiceover offering and a female voiceover offering. And you can create a gig that has both, so you could do a script where you guys go back and forth.
Brilliant.
I see that on the buyer's question.
Right, yeah.
Male, female.
Right, yeah, so, and I would definitely encourage you guys to like collaborate together and start your Fiverr empire.
The other thing, they don't have exclusives, so why can't I take the same material I got usually, sell it, just package it myself, and sell it on the fire?
You could,
Why not?
yeah, you could, absolutely. Right, well, there you go, get to work.
Done.
Now you start building your Fiverr empire. I mean, if you have a service or a service that is like a product, like if you have that, I would encourage you to come to Fiverr and share your talents with our community for sure. You've got nothing to lose and only money to gain. I don't know. How do you feel about money? So we have any, I mean, there's a lot of great questions and I'm happy to keep going. Is anybody curious about anything, or are you just hungry and ready for more beer?
What's the next event?
Oh, you know, I
am so glad you brought that up.
That is a plus.
The wife is right on cue. So I really appreciate everybody's candor, and that is one thing I really appreciate about many Fiverr friends is everybody's like candid. We're all trying to figure this out, grow our business. We all have the same goal. Whether you're a buyer, you want a good deal from a good seller at a good price. I'm a seller. I want to give you a good deal at a good price. We're both happy at the end of the day, because that means you'll be back. It's a great community, it really is. So I'm friends with a guy who did something similar in Orlando, Kevin, voiceover artist. And Kevin and I have been talking. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight. But he came up with the idea of, Pete, why don't we combine something around the holidays and call it a holiday party? That's simple. So Orlando's pretty big, Tampa's pretty big. We've come up with the idea of probably somewhere in that Disney area, Kissimmee. We just haven't quite nailed down the place of the where. We've mentioned it to community events, and they're like, thumbs up. We encourage that, that's great. So we'll probably do it that first weekend, Friday, you're getting this fresh. Friday or Saturday, one of those 2 nights in December. Holiday, call it what you want, holiday get together, holiday party.
Now, would that be like a form like this, or would it be more of like a meet and greet and networking event, or are you still working that out? Suggestions?
Meet and greet, but we're kind of thinking, what if we go to a large restaurant, serves pizza, we can have a side room and, you know, have the money to go ahead and basically pay for pizza, drinks, that sort of thing. But yeah, it would be very much, you want to talk to each other, let's talk to each other. You don't want to talk to each other, we don't have to. Just lift a glass and say happy holidays.
And I encourage that type of program, but especially having somebody like Trisha,
It's okay.
because it's been very helpful to me. I came here as a buyer, not even
Totally, she's awesome. Why do you think she's here?
I've learned so much, you know, because it's so intimate.
Yes.
It's not a huge crowd, where you can't get your questions in and whatever. And you've been very helpful. You've been extremely helpful to me personally. And I would encourage that someone like her be at.
You're invited, Trisha.
Oh, I'll be there. If it happens in Florida, I always
Please feel
want
free
to
to
go.
bring some other Fiverr folks.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any things that are actual traditions, everybody?
We have done some Fiverr events that Fiverr hosts like themselves. The last one I was at was in December. We did one in New York where it was all this was all planned. Everything tonight, by the way, guys, just in case Pete did everything.
You can blame me. Good job.
And but he one in San Francisco, I think LA, I didn't go to either of those, there's one in London. And I don't know what our plans are with that, but I know I really like those, so I hope the answer is yes, but I don't know.
What about workshops? Do you offer workshops for people that want to start up or, may learn one-on-one
Yeah.
or?
So, I mean, what's really interesting about workshops is, I guess we have done maybe some things like that at different like conventions that we've gone to. But I know there's a seller in custom drum loops in California who has done some sort of workshop type things, and I think that's like a big opportunity for people in the community too to kind of do workshops.
Are you allowed to do free gigs? I never thought of that.
No, everything is $5. Yeah.
Like if I wanted to do a, for just, unless that's something I do in the community, but to offer like a video on how to set up a Fiverr account.
Yeah. So I would jump on the Fiverr forum, something like that. Yeah.
Sure. Just offer that.
What about discounts? You offer discounts?
So there are occasionally like coupons and stuff like that that like Fiverr sends out directly that buyers can use, and then like, the seller doesn't get the impact of that coupon. There's nothing right now that sellers can offer. I think you're thinking about Udemy because there are like coupon codes or links you can send out. It doesn't exist now. It may exist in the future. Like I think it's cool. I've heard people talk about it. I think it's an interesting retention tool. So yeah, and it's an attention getter for sure.
But isn't that what a custom offer is?
In a way.
So if you come to me and say, hey, I got 10 videos, it's a series on, can I get some sort of special compensation? Oh yeah, let's talk. I make out the custom offer, we work out the details, yeah.
That's a little bit, say you want to go to like Twitter or Facebook.
Right.
Oh.
Put
Yeah.
out, all the
Yeah, that would be nice.
No, that's really cool. That is very
On the
cool.
other, you're on Fiverr.
Yeah.
It's not Hundreder, it's Fiverr.
Right.
Bad idea.
And to your comment about the custom offers, I always actually put in there what the normal value would be. Typically, this is a $500 service, and I'm providing you a custom gig for $400, which represents a 20% savings.
Very
It creates value in the customer's mind.
Yeah.
We figured out what.
Okay, you got it? All right. See the good minds at it.
One last question.
Let's go, I'm ready.
Just again, on ignorance, what's the fee that, the standard fee that Fiverr takes when you start?
Oh, it's, the commission is 20%. So you sell something for $5,
To the
you're
seller.
paying, yes, the seller. There is no, buyers don't pay commissions, but yeah, to the seller. So if you sell something for $5, you'll earn $4.
Plus you get $1, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
We're paying the processing fee.
Yeah, there is a processing fee as well, but that only applies, like, if you have balance, like, in your accounts, that doesn't apply on that, it just applies on the credit card processing.
Or PayPal.
Or PayPal, yeah, the payment provider processing.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, that's one.
All right, give it to me.
Copycat gigs.
Report it.
It's about a 50% success rate on seeing them go away, and they're verbatim, but maybe they took out one paragraph.
Right.
So I've got
Yeah,
four.
or here's the good news, bad news reality. If I come out with a video that's kind of unique, do you know how many guys will quickly try and go, wow, that's a seller, I'm gonna do, same thing in voiceovers, you come out with your, same thing, the whole website is replete with copycats.
I agree it is, and the problem is when those copycats use your words and end up showing up for whatever reason randomized higher in the listings, and people come across those first, and they are literally using your word, your experience. Because I have my experiences, they're using my experience.
Well, we absolutely don't allow that, and I'm actually really happy to hear a 50% success rate. So like,
I can't believe there's not an algorithm that when a gig is created, it doesn't go, does this match anything? No, okay, no, good.
it's an interesting way of looking at it. I know.
Goodbye.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for
Bye,
coming.
ladies.
honestly, like, if you find
What do you
that,
guys
like, it's not being handled, I know, I don't know if we're ready to should be handled in the first
What?
place, do not be polite about being like, hey, they took out 3 sentences. So, because, you know, things, I mean, it's a huge marketplace, we might miss things, but obviously it's not going to be everything. But it is possible that somebody can change something and then change it again, as you know from your case, you can change and change and change, and I'm totally not cool with that. That's something that bothers me a lot, so. You could be like, I talked to Trisha in Tampa, and she said, and believe me, somebody in support will be like, Trisha, what did you say? And I'll be like, let's go. Not that I have, that sounds like I have much more powerful than I have, but all right.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Fiverr thing sounds interesting, we should try that.
I'm okay, I do my best.
What's that?
I like this talk, so.
No, just